Hi, good morning, Carlos. First, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. How are you doing? How is it over in Trinidad? How is it going right now?
It's different. Morning. Thanks for having me. It's very different. I am normally a homebody, so I like my room. I always in my room. I get my take my room service, and I normally chill in my room, my laptop, my phone anyway. But knowing that there is no option, it was kind of tough. So hopefully we're at the end now. I just had my last or my second Trinidadian COVID test. So
Okay.
hopefully a negative comes back tomorrow, and then I'll be free to practice and get some physical work in before the tournament starts.
Okay. And the tournament starts when again?
August 18th.
August 18th. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, of course, before we get into the cricketing side of things, I just want to ask you quickly on the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I saw, well, I can't say I saw, I see that you have been very passionate about the whole movement. I even saw you speaking at a rally when you were still in England. What are your thoughts on the whole movement, and what do you how do you see us moving forward as a people to hopefully someday being treated equally?
I think the movement was very important because it's first time in my lifetime that I've seen almost every city in the world come together and say Black Lives Matter, and it became a slogan. It really means Black people want equality, um, and we want to be treated equally. And if you just think about it, if Black people were to ask for revenge, then there would be 400 years of slaughter and slavery for white people and people that would have enslaved us for however long. And we're not asking for revenge. We're just asking to be treated equally. We're just asking that if we go into a job interview with the same credentials, interview better than a person that is white or Asian, that we get the job and that we're not given the job because our names sound too ghetto. And there's a lot of systemic programming, and that's just one part of it. You want that when you go into the supermarket, you aren't automatically thought of as a thief. You want that when you're pulled over from the cops, you aren't automatically thought of as a thug, could have drugs or could have a weapon. You want to be seen as a citizen. And it reared its ugly head in America a lot more than it did other parts in the world. But when you start to look at the way that the media report sports, they report different news happenings, and over the course of a month or two, there may be conflicting stories depending on race, and you wouldn't really pick it up because it's done in isolation. But when you put two stories side by side and you realize they were a few days apart, and the tone around the report for the person that is black is different to the tone around the report for the person that's white, you then start to realize, albeit in other countries, persons are being left with a knee on the head or the neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds until they die. But slowly but surely, the media, um, government, legislation, and systemic programming has their knee on our necks. And it could be slow and over a very long period of time. And then you think about the pandemic. When the pandemic struck, think about how many black hospitals we had. Think about how many black banks you have that could bail the black community out. We can't sustain ourselves at the moment, yet we spend the most money um, per person. I think we're $1 trillion spending um, consumer race. So we spend a lot of money, but that money doesn't stay in the black community because we don't spend it on our own businesses. And by the same token, when the businesses, small black businesses go to banks, they don't get small loans, but they get student loans, they get car loans, but they don't get business loans. So systemically, it seems as though, everyone has equal opportunity. But when you peel the layers back of media, legislation, and everything involved with running a society and making a society successful, Black persons are definitely um, I don't even know is the correct adjective, but we definitely hamstrung, and we definitely a ways off where we think we need to be and should be for what we've done for society.
In the recently concluded series, West Indies versus England, I saw you took up an unfamiliar seat in the commentary box. Just tell us, what was that experience like for you, and how did it come about?
So my agent is very good, very knowledgeable, very well connected as well. And I was in England. I spent some time in England with my wife during lockdown, and we were looking for opportunities in England for me to play cricket, just do stuff and continue to be active. As soon as the tour got announced, he reached out to me and asked would they be interested in doing some sort of punditry, commentary, whatever, something in broadcast or media. And I thought about it for a bit, and it's something that you always start to think about, what will they do after cricket? Will they go into coaching? Will they go into management? Will they go into broadcast? And a few people have told me, man, Carlos, you interview really well. You should look at commentary as a potential after cricket role. So I say, you know what? I'll try it. I'd be up for it. So we kind of flirted the idea a bit, and then he came back with some more concrete stuff. There was an offer made. We did some sessions of training, and it's very, very difficult. It's a lot more difficult than I thought it was, but I really enjoyed it. The BBC Test Match Special team were very, very good. They welcomed me with open arms. For the time I got announced, actually, couple people messaged and were like, welcome to the team. Happy to have you. If you need anything, let us know. If you want any preparation stuff or if you want any tips, just let us know. So that was real good. And during lockdown, you could only see people via Zoom. So we had a few Zoom calls and you got that virtual introduction. But then because they made it so easy, then the physical introduction was easy as well. And I slotted in nicely, felt comfortable in the role, got some good feedback. So yeah, looking forward to it, man. And it was good to get a different perspective. Obviously, as a player, you see one viewpoint from the dressing room. You're practicing, and you're basically in one set of ideas. Whereas from a commentary side of things, you get a slightly left field view. So it was good. Hopefully, that can help transform my on-field performances. I don't want people to start to think that I retired as yet. Still very much playing. But yeah, I definitely enjoy my stint in the commentary box.
Glad to hear that. I also saw that you started your own talk show, the Players Lounge. I saw your good friend Kimar Roach on your first episode. What sparked that idea?
So it's not my talk show, but over the course of the England series, the guys are looking to create some content. They reached out to CWI, and the media manager, Dario Bartley, reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in hosting it. There'll be a few episodes, and it's just about, creating a virtual Players Lounge. So you want to create or recreate, you in someone's room having a general chat. Because as players, a lot of time people would think they know us based on our persona on the field. So if you're quick and you're aggressive, they automatically think that off the field you're aggressive, but they never have the chance to see you outside of work per se. So I like the idea. And they say, yeah, more than willing to host it. So we've had a few calls over Zoom because we couldn't see each other with the different biosecure bubbles. And we got some real good feedback on this first episode, man. And I really enjoyed it. I thought that, I normally see this side of the guys, and now other persons are being able to see, and some powerful stories that have come out as well. So for the players, for me, it was really good to see the players, show that more open side and, really allow people to see through them. And then for the public who watching on, they get to hear some of the stories that we as players talk about, some of the frustrations even, and they can now start to relate to us because they see the inside scoop or they're in the Players Lounge and such.
Yeah. You made your first class debut in 2011, is that correct? 2011 for the CCC, combined campuses and colleges. You had a pretty good season, actually. I remember that season like it was yesterday. You hit the ground running from your first season. Now, can you tell us what was it like playing for the CCC in your first year? And also, can you share a little bit about your thoughts about how the CCC has developed cricket in the West Indies?
So the opportunity came about because it was not selected for Barbados. Floyd Reefer reached out. He was player coach then, and he said, "I'd like to have you as a part of the team, especially at trials. Come to trials. If you do enough, I really want you a part of the squad." So for me, that felt real good to hear. A legend in Floyd Reefer. You probably don't got the best stats at international level, but growing up, you would know when you talk about Barbados cricket, it's Courtney Brown, Sherwin Campbell, Floyd Reefer. Yeah. So he went to trials and did okay. Didn't set the world alight, didn't do too badly, handled himself well, got selected. And then he didn't play the first game. Keon Otley, then when we went to Trinidad, got a stiff back. And I remember him knocking on my door and saying, I don't think I'll be able to play tomorrow, and you'll probably be the replacement. And then, yeah, I'll just say hit the ground running. First innings, I didn't think I get one wicket or something like that, and scored not. And then second innings, I got 60 and took 7, I think. I did 6 or 7. So yeah, hit the ground running in that regard, and then ended that season as leading wicket taker out of the seamers. For me, it was good because, there are a lot of egos in cricket. That team didn't have any egos at all. One of the senior men were Ramal Currency, and he's never played international cricket. Doesn't have the best first class record, but it was a level of respect for what he had done, how he carries himself, and I think that word respect would have gone right through that team. Ryan Austin, seasoned campaigner, different character. He let you know when you mess up, but the respect was there, so you understood that's what makes Ryan tick. And I really enjoyed that team, to be honest. I had some real good memories from that series, that tournament, that year, and then made my West Indies debut off the back of it. And I think there are a few players that would have come through the system. Yeah. I just think at the moment, or when they last, let me put it that way, when they last checked, it still has the feeling as though it is CCC versus the rest of the Caribbean. I think there is a role for the CCC to play, and that role is to be like a West Indies B. And the reason I say that is because even when you talk about West Indies B or West Indies emerging players, those are just the next best, the next cabs off the rank. Whereas the CCC allows you to go to a tertiary level institution and not forego cricket. We talk a lot about, athletes not being smart enough, but here's a program who's saying, if you are smart enough, you still have an entrance into first class cricket, professional cricket, and potentially even international cricket. So why are we blocking that pathway? And it just needs to be more cohesive. So yes, the CCC, what is your role? And I'd like to see eventually we get to the stage where we hand out 2-year contracts or 3-year contracts, because if I know I'm going to play for CCC for 2 or 3 years, then it doesn't need to be the circus that you've had in years gone by, where men would practice at Barbados trials and then drive down to UWE to practice for CCC trials, because the goal is the same: to play first class cricket, to play professional cricket, and eventually international cricket. So why are we making it a rat race when we could coordinate it and make sure that everyone gets as much visibility as possible? So I think there's a place for it. It just needs to be handled better.
Later on that year, you went on to debut in the shorter formats of the game at the international level, and then eventually you went on to captain the T20 side. Tell us what it was like to be the captain of the West Indies team, and was this something that you ever thought would come true as a young boy?
Yeah, well, it was one of my dreams. And when I was young, I can be honest, I had a few dreams. I wanted to play for Barbados, captain Barbados, play for West Indies, captain West Indies, and win a World Cup. Obviously, back then there was no T20 World Cup, so I can't say I dreamt about winning the T20 World Cup. But I always said I wanted to win a World Cup. And there aren't many people that can say that they've achieved all the dreams.
Yeah.
So I mean, cricketing wise, those were my dreams. I've been able to play and captain Barbados, play and captain the West Indies, and it's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a difficult job. It is a different job to what a lot of international captains will have, because if you're the Australian captain and you play for New South Wales, another guy plays for Victoria, then yes, you play for two different states, but you're both Australian. Whereas we have a unique proposition in the West Indies where all the nations involved making up the West Indies, all the states involved, all the stakeholders are independent sovereign nations.
Yeah.
So a Trinidadian, a Jamaican, a Guyanese, different anthems, different flags, different beliefs, different cultures, vastly different cultures as well. And then we all come together to play for West Indies. So I don't think at times people understand the challenge and the magnitude that it involves to bring a West Indies team together, bring all these different players together to then fight under that West Indian flag. I would say for me, anytime I put on the shirt is a privilege, is an honor, and then to be leading those troops was an even greater honor. I enjoyed every single ball, every single toss flick, every single signature of the team sheet. It was a privilege. It's not there anymore, but I can say that I enjoyed and I basked in the privilege of each and every moment.
You then went on to play Test cricket for the West Indies. Now, you played 3 matches. In those 3 matches, you were able to have an average of 45, and you also had 3 50s in those 3 matches, albeit against some, decent bowling attacks. I'm pretty sure you have Australia. One was against Australia and India, if my mind serves me correct.
Two against Australia in Australia and one against India. In Antigua, yeah.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, you were dropped for lack of a better term. You were dropped from a team, and the notion was that both Carlos Brathwaite and Jason Holder cannot play in the same team. What is your thoughts on that? Because in my opinion, the West Indies we definitely weren't in a position to have to drop a guy who came in three games, 3 50s, averaging 45. We definitely weren't in a position, in my opinion, to drop a guy like that. So what are your thoughts on that, Carlos?
Personally, or looking at it from a West Indies point of view? I could answer both. Which one you want to hear first?
Give me personally first, and then we can have from a West Indies point of view.
Yeah, so personally, I took it hard.
Okay.
I took it real hard, and it took me a few years to get over, because after I made my debut, or around the time that I was making my debut, I'd been on the tour to Sri Lanka. So you're practicing with the team, and then you're practicing 4-day cricket, Test cricket. You do the right things for a longer period of time because there's not the pressure of trying to score quickly. So you pick length better, you leave balls better. You just get into better positions. And this is not me making an excuse. You could ask any cricketer and they'll tell you the same thing. So I felt as though me playing first-class cricket and Test cricket, or at least being in the setup, got me into very good positions. That Sri Lanka tour went on to get a quick 100 with Russell. I think we were 70 for 9. And me and Russell eventually scored a 300 and a little bit in the one of the practice games. And then they had the end of 2015 was when I made my debut in Australia, got like 2 50s, and then the World Cup happened in 2016 off the back of me leading out of Test cricket back in the first-class cricket and doing well. So I felt as though personally, like, because I'm hitting sixes, or because of the aggressive nature and how you're playing, it doesn't mean that you need to now tell me that I could only play white ball cricket, because the foundation of my success in white ball cricket was through red ball play. So it took me a little while, I can be honest. But from a professional note now, and the way I thought it could have been handled better, at that point in time, I was not bowling well. Or don't get me wrong, it was not that I wasn't bowling well. I didn't bowl well in my last test. I didn't bowl well at all. They have no rhythm, it can get you ball control, so I didn't really bowl well. In Australia, I don't think I bowled badly, but the man was scoring 450, 500. We got 9 wickets in total in the 3 tests that I played. I got 1 of them. So you're talking about potential 60 wickets, and we got 9. So I don't see why the 4th change bowler, as I was at the time, should be the one to be penalised and castigated, especially if I scoring runs. So my thing to the chairman of selectors at the time was, I'm not bowling well. I'd be first to hold my hand up. If I'm not performing, I can say, but I'm batting well. And you can see that I'm batting well. It's not like I'm scoring runs in first class cricket and you think I may score runs in test cricket. I scoring runs in test cricket against Australia, in Australia, so in hardest places to play cricket, and against India, who was making a charge to number 1 or close to number 1 at the time. So I obviously proved that I got pedigree with the bat. Why not push me to 6, take some of the load off my bowling? If I continue to bowl badly, or let me say be ineffective, and I stop scoring runs, then drop me. Like if I deserve to get dropped, Jason, I guess me and you know each other. You know, you call a spade a spade. If I deserve to get a drop, I deserve to get a drop. As simple as that. But don't tell me that I'm not bowling well, and you drop me when I'm 4th change bowler. I'm scoring runs, and you can't see the need to put me at the order. And funny enough, I got dropped later that year in ODI cricket, having the 2nd most wickets for the year because I wasn't scoring runs, behind at 8 and 9. So I was wondering, like, what you really want from me? You want me to score runs every game, take wickets every game, take catches every game? Like, I'm performing with bat in test cricket, you drop me because I'm performing with the ball. Performing with the ball in one-day cricket, you drop me because I'm performing with the bat when they're batting after 40 overs all the time. So that whole year after the World Cup, when it really truly should be me just enjoying myself, was a lot of mental battles being played out and a lot of friction with selection and what really is my role. And yeah, I think obviously having Jason there would have made it a lot more difficult because he was captain of the test team and the ODI team at the time. And with all due respect to Jason, I think we can play together. What Chris Wokes and Ben Stokes played together all the time. Stokes was behind at 8 and bowling overs. They realized to get the most out of Stokes, he needs to be an impact bowler and not necessarily first change. They shunt him up to 6, put Moeen Ali down to 8. He's now the specialist spinner. Stokes is now a batting all-rounder. Takes some of the load off his bowling. And now Stokes up at 5 and playing as a specialist, 4 in the last test, and playing as a specialist batsman. So my question, even before that happened, was why can't that happen to me? Why can't I bat at 6, take some of the pressure off my bowling, and if I don't perform, you drop me. If I do perform, then all of a sudden I've stepped into a role where I can be a batting all-rounder. I start my career as a batsman, opening number 3. So why can't I think no? So for me, that was always the fight in the few months after. I never felt as though I got the backing and the support from the selection panel. Obviously, as captain of the T20 team, they couldn't just drop me. So I would say probably my form in T20 cricket was not as good as my form in Test or 50 over, but I hang on because I was captain. So when it was taken away from me last year, I could probably hold my hand up and say, don't deserve to be in the team unless I was captain. And I couldn't really bat an eyelid and say it was taken advantage of in that situation. I just didn't perform as well as I know I could have. But then when you look back to the World Cup, I was 1 wicket away from being the 4th man in history to score 100 and take a 5-wicket haul in the same World Cup. And I averaged 35 with the bat and 30 with the ball. Yet, 1 series later against India, and I can't find myself in the squad after that. So for me, it's always been the mixed messages.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't want to tell too much tales out of school, so I can stop there. But yeah, so leading out, you get the full repertoire from Test cricket straight away down to one day T20, and yeah, for me it's always been not a clear message and
Yeah.
frustration over my role.
I just want to ask, do you still have a desire to represent the West Indies at the test level?
Well, desire is a strong word because when I was in the commentary box and I was watching the way the games were panning out, I was envisioning how would I act in this capacity, what would I do, what would my planning be. So that can be because of the role of commentator, but it's because there is a passion there for Test cricket as well. I love Test cricket, and because I obviously made my name in T20, a lot of people don't see it, but I genuinely love Test cricket, and there's different passages of play. So a desire to want to play, yes, but interest in playing, probably no, because it took me so long to get over my non-selection or my dropping, whatever you want to call it. It's almost as though you just closed that door. That was a door that, when it was open, was fraught with frustration, stress. You've closed that door. You found kind of a peace of mind where it comes to that format. I know I'll never play a Test cricket again. I am happy to compartmentalize that. Enjoy Test cricket for what it was. Enjoy watching back the highlights of my three tests. But with looking forward and using that as a goal, no, because they just had too much frustration and too much stress, and the road back is just too long. I could spend my time doing other stuff and being more impactful on and off the field
Yeah.
than trying to fight up to play Test cricket.
Yeah, understood. Definitely understand where you're coming from. I want to fast forward on to the 2016 World Cup finals, Carlos. England batted first. They scored 155 in their 20 overs. And in our response, we lost Gale pretty early. And both Gale and Johnson Charles pretty early. Some guys came in and they had one or two knocks, but only Marlon Samuels had, really tried to carry the team throughout the whole innings. Can you tell us what was the general feeling like in the dugout before you went to the wicket?
Well, at lunch or at the break, we just like cheese on. You will take 155 any day, 156 to win. You don't want to call chickens for your hatch, but you playing cricket, it was par, at least probably 20, 30 runs below par. You're thinking, we soon there.
Yeah.
And then first over, I think it was first over, Joe Root Bowl,
Yes.
Johnson Charles and Chris out, and it's just like cheese on. Trust the West Indies to make a simple chase harder than it really supposed to be. They lost Simmons as well to David Willey. So we stayed on the barrel at, I think, 10 or 12 for 3, something like that. Bravo come in and play decent knock.
Yes.
But Marlon is a big one.
Yeah,
Marlon don't fail in them big games at all. If you need to qualify, if you need to win a final, Marlon is your man. And then, so they had a fairly solid partnership. But you always felt as though the longer they're back together, the more the game was going away from us.
Yeah.
Because there was a lack of tempo. And Bravo got at the right time.
Yeah.
He get dropped, I think, 2 or 3 overs earlier. But when he got it was the right time because it now allowed Sammy, Russell, myself to really go in. And if we had to just swing from the hip, swing from the hip.
Yeah.
So Bravo go, Sammy go. Sorry, Russell go first, then Sammy. And then everybody was looking around because obviously there was a percent wickets. Ramlin was gone before all the other two. I was like, nah, I going. So I just walk out. And I guess it was just like, it don't really matter who goes at the moment. So I went. I remember me and Ashley were talking, me and Ashley Nurse, because we always sat together. We both first every single game.
Okay.
And then we would sit together and we would just break down the game. So how much we want after 6, how much we want after 10.
Yeah.
By 15, how much we want to be. And then, kind of work the game like that. So we always breaking out the game, always trying to see how best we could win this game from where we are. And yeah, that was the conversation right throughout. And then when I went out, I came around going to bat and just thinking, I see my name come up, highest score 26 not out or something like that. Like, you need a little bit more than that today. I think we needed 50, 58, 54, something like that. But yeah, we went there with Marlon. But for me, like my thought process throughout that World Cup was just don't miss too many balls.
Okay.
We talk about maximizing balls in the back end. So, you know, obviously everybody talk about fours and sixes. But if you miss 3 balls at the end of the 6 and it's 6 runs off 4 balls, whereas if you get single, 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 and then at the 6 is 9 off 4 balls, it's very, very different. So for me, it was all about maximizing. Marlon's the other end, so it's not just jump and get a single, but get the ball into gap, hit it hard to the sweeper. If you happen to get in a gap, you get a 2, you get a 4, whatever. So yeah, I think I missed 1 ball. About 10 balls. I think I missed 1 ball in them 10. It was a leg bite. So really and truly, I made something happen every single ball. So I was real pleased with that.
Carlos, at the end of the 19th over, the West Indies needed 19 runs to win going into that last over. What was the plan between Marlon and yourself going into that last one? Because Marlon, obviously, he was the person in. So, you know, from a cricketing mind, you would think that Carlos, you know, because he didn't get the single from the end of the 19th over to be on strike. So I really want to know what was the plan between you and Marlon going into that last over?
You see, the funny thing is, right, 1 ball could do so much. Because I know if Marlon had got a boundary off that last ball, the momentum would have been different.
Yeah.
But the fact that Jordan nailed that last year, or Marlon, the man that ain't play and miss, it's just like, an already tough task.
Yeah.
It's become a lot more difficult. But the conversation was make contact.
Simple as that.
Contact. Swing for the hills. So in my mind, I tell myself, Marlon is the man to win the game.
Yeah.
He in, he's set. So I don't want to waste any balls. I just want to get the ball in the air.
Yeah.
If it go for 6, I know I can hit a 6, then fine. If I get caught, it gives me time to cross. And I remember looking up at the scoreboard and I see 19 runs, 6 balls. And I was like, nah, boy. You can't really be thinking about the equation now. Like, it's not 8 off 6 that you could think about how you could set up the first 3 and the last 3 ball. Just watch your ball. And that was one of the times that I would say I was in the zone. And I just watched every single ball. After the 3rd ball, see, first ball was a bad ball. It was done like I said, hit it for 6.
Yeah.
Second ball was in the slot, hit it for 6. The 3rd ball, I thought I had got out, to be honest. I kind of shanked it and it ended over long off. But it's only after that 3rd ball that I like turned, and my wife was in the stand. She was my girlfriend. Then the West Indies women had stayed back from their victory. And I was just like, you know what? Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. Cause I tell myself, like, 1 run, 3 balls, we can't lose from here. Can't lose from here.
Yeah.
But from first ball, it was like, all right, cool. Yeah, 6, fine. Second ball, it was like, all right, cool. Equation now a bit more manageable, but I ain't looking at the equation.
Yeah.
After the 3rd ball, it was 1 from 3. I said, nah, boy, enjoy it. You don't know the next time you're going to be in a stadium.
Correct.
Packed with so many people, so much eyes on you, and you're about to win a game. A lot of times you win games, but it just happens.
Yeah.
But here I am.
It's not just a game. This is a World Cup final.
A World Cup final.
Yeah.
So, and as I mentioned, it was a dream of mine to win a World Cup.
Yeah.
So you, in this moment, like, the most you could do is enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can't ever replicate with no 3D simulator or anything like that. The feeling, the emotion that it evoked. Only thing that would make it better is to have my family along with my girlfriend there at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was surreal.
Yeah.
And it just, I just said, enjoy it. I turn around and give it the big ones on the on the badge, blow some kisses, and but then it was time to switch back on and face that last ball. They
Yeah.
had a long break though because I think the ball got changed or something happened. Um, they had a little melee in the middle to Marlon Stokes. When Marlon come in, I went and pulled in Marlon. So we had some time around that fourth ball
Yeah.
that I could have done that, and I could have still like tuned back into the game. And I never forget, I was going home from school a day, and West Indies wanted 2 runs to win against South Africa, and Charles Lagerfeld got a hat trick,
Yeah.
and that scarred me for life. No game is ever truly over. So as soon as as soon as the time was done to pump your chest and enjoy it, it was time to switch back on because anything can happen in this game of cricket. So it was time to focus again. But obviously, with 1 run needed, the whole field was up and everything. So I knew once I get the ball into the outfield, mid on, mid off, sweeper, that we win the game. And if I get the ball over the infield, then we win for sure. And yeah, the last ball come along. It was in the slot again. And I hit it, and I just know I creamed that ball. I know that I creamed it. So I just turn around, hands in the air. That photo may be iconic for some, iconic to me for sure. With Marlon hugging me, hands in the air, and the men running on. Yeah, man, real good memory.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know the ball went for 6. I can be honest. I just know that I cream it. I know this ball is at least 4. That was
the last
the
one.
last one. Yeah. That wasn't doing a drop and plug. I know that was at least 4. So yeah, I just turned and enjoy. And it's only walking around the field. Then we do a little bit to relax. Ashley Nurse was like, "My man, do boy. Hit 4 sixes in last." I was like, "Oh, you 4 went for 6. Fair enough." Back to enjoying it. So it ain't really sink in. Ain't really sink in until I guess enjoying it with the West Indies women, enjoying it with my girlfriend at the time, and then enjoying the celebration. So you know that you're in a World Cup, and that's why you're celebrating. But the feat of hitting 4 sixes, bam, 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 it really sink into a few days after.
I mean, Carlos, I could only imagine because I remember it like yesterday, and even in preparing for this interview, I would have come across that video, and I probably watched it at least 2 or 3 times preparing for this interview. And Carlos, I mean, I still get goosebumps to this day. And like I said, I remember it like yesterday, and I can still hear people in the next gap screaming when you hit that last 6, and people just, I mean, it was just a great moment for West Indies. And you just remember, Ian Bishop, just like God, it was Carlos Brathwaite, remember the name. It was just, like I said, it was just an unreal feeling. At that point in time, you felt really proud, to be a West Indian. You felt really, really proud to be a West Indian. That is true. Want to move on to last year now, 2019. You played another remarkable innings in the World Cup. You scored 100, albeit in a losing cause, but 100 nonetheless. What does it feel like to have that World Cup 100, under your belt?
You know what? Why I appreciate that knock a lot. I won't say a lot more. Don't be telling lies. Why I appreciate that knock a lot and why I put it right up there is because there was so much sacrifices made. As I tell you, like I would have gone into a period where I decide, look, whatever's happening, wherever it's happening, like I need to provide for my family. So I would have not played. I didn't play for a South Spirit for 5 years because there would have been T20 tournaments knocking around, and that is a way of trying to get myself financially free. In hindsight, I probably could have sacrificed a bit more, played a bit more first-class cricket. But I remember speaking to Floyd, and a lot of the Super 50, the regional 50 over tournaments that I would have played would have come off the back of me coming in from Big Bash and then being undercooked a bit because of fatigue, jet lag, all that. And I mean, Barbados would have won one um, Super 50 from my Big Bash. With 2 years I was in Big Bash, and I felt like it didn't really play a big part. I got the last wicket. It felt good. I mean, I felt as though I was accepted and stuff, but I didn't feel as though I did justice to my play in the team. And then moving forward, you always put a mark in the sand for a World Cup, and the World Cup was around the corner. So 2018, Floyd and myself, we had a chat, and he said, "Look, Carlos, you playing for Barbados, you batting at 8, you bowling third change. Come and play for CCC, play a bigger role, bat at 5, and captain the team." And it made sense for me at the time as well, because I was not captaining my CPL franchise and I was captaining the West Indies team. So outside of international cricket, I wasn't getting a chance to hone my captaincy skills and continue to play that role as captain. And I said, I can think about it, because there was another tournament around the corner that had offered 6 figures. And I was like, fair enough. But then I was like, you know what, like, money can't be my only motivation. And I want to play in that World Cup. And I said, you know what, I pull my name out of it, made that sacrifice. And they say, Floyd, I fully invested into the CCC project for 2018. And we started to plan. And I mean, I don't know if we ever went into it thinking we would have won as comprehensively as we did, but we made so many plans and we set so many roles for different players, and every single person executed their role to perfection. So then for me as captain, I felt as though I grew. For me as a batter, I felt as though I grew as well, because I remember going from one extreme to the next, obviously having to bat from the 40th over and try to get quick runs. I then was batting at 5, and I remember playing against the USA, coming into bat at 40 for 3 or something like that. And between over 10 and over 40, I didn't hit a single boundary, because for me, it was, I need to get singles, I need to rotate, I know batting in the middle. So it's like kind of a panic. And I think I got 60, but I didn't hit a boundary to 40th over. So then we went back to the drawing board. How can you be more positive? How can you be more proactive? So I would have done a lot of work in the lead up just to make myself eligible, available, and ready if selected for that World Cup tournament. Because if you rewind to 2018, we had the World Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe, and I wasn't selected, and then some players pulled out. I was actually, I was preparing to go to the tournament again, 6 figures, and got the call saying, yeah, you're coming in as a replacement, men pull out. So again, your mindset on playing this tournament, you're prepared one way, you now got to jet to a whole different part of the world to play a different tournament, but it is to play for West Indies, and that always took preference for me. So I went there, I ain't bat an eyelid, we win the tournament, we qualify. So then, having done that, everybody there know, all right, we would have helped West Indies to qualify, but that doesn't mean that we're guaranteed to be on the plane to England in 2019. Sure. All of we here still need to work for our play, and everybody wants to play in a World Cup. So we know everybody will be available. So then, having now to come back and prove again that I think I get enough was a challenge that I enjoyed. I relished it. And as I say, with the planning that went into it, with me batting at 5, bowling certain overs, the stress of captaincy, everything went to plan. And as you remember, we eventually won the tournament. I got best all-rounder. And it just led in one thing into the other, into the other, into the other. We toured Bangladesh. I didn't get a chance to play in any 50 over games, and then was dropped or not selected in for the England series. And then Kimo Paul got injured in the Test series versus England before the One Days. Again, I get called from a contract to come and play against England. And this time I had my wife and my trainer with me. So we had to cut short their trip. So all these other expenses now come into play, because it's not only that you fly them out there in the first place, but now you got to make arrangements, amend flight schedules and all that to then get them back home before I even worry now about me getting back to the Caribbean and coming and playing 50 over cricket. And that series against England was one of my best with the ball. And I felt as though I started to bring that way of playing from CCC right through into whatever number I bat. And then, as I said, with the ball was moving again, just like 2011, just like when I was bowling at my best. And I just thought, you still aren't guaranteed to be selected, because you were a replacement here, you were a replacement there. So then for me to be eventually selected in the squad, it was like, good. This is a culmination of all the sacrifices that you would have made from 2 years previous to get here. And then I don't think the team performed as well as we wanted to. We had a lot of plans. We didn't stick to all of them. We didn't execute all of them the way that we could have. And as a result, that New Zealand game, we needed to win that to stay in contention. And funny enough, it's the only time that I ever get a chance to bat at 6, because Evan was injured. So I come into bat with about between 23 and 25 overs. I watched it the other day on the plane. Between 23 and 25 overs gone. So then again, there's no pressure to have to score right away. I know that I got a few balls that I could get in. Yeah. So, I mean, I get away. I get a half volley and a full toss early. So I get away. I get ahead of that run. It's not like it was 2 off 20 or anything like that. But you know that you could, all right, good. I could leave a few balls. I could play forward a few balls because there's no pressure. I ain't got the target set in the next 5 overs. And yeah, I just bat and I got in, rotate, got in, rotate. And then the next challenge after Chris got out, after Ashley got out, was now batting with the tail. Something that I really enjoyed. When I used to play first class cricket for Barbados, we'd always devise plans when we batting with the tail. I always felt as though you needed to give the tail that confidence that you believe in them. And yeah, I know Rochi can handle himself. We rotate as normal, get the odd boundary, Rochi hit a 6, I hit a 6, rotate. Okay. Rochi got out. Then Cottrell. I know Cottrell could hold his own as well. I see he scored 40 in the HPC against Barbados and win a game. So I just saying, I know you can do this. I know you can do this. I'm rehashing these memories of that innings that he would have played. And we bouncing off each other and we making plans. This bowler, that bowler. I said, look, Lockie Ferguson got 1 more over that he can bowl in this spell. He had 3 left. He just want your wicket. We get through it. Bam. Lost Soch to the last ball of Lockie Ferguson spell. And then O'Shane Thomas come out. I don't trust O'Shane that much with the bat because he improved to me that he could do it yet with the bat, or I never see do it with the bat. So I tell O'Shane, look, I can score the runs. I just need to block balls. And whichever balls I give you to think, just block. And we needed 48 or 50. We did either 48 or 56, and we eventually got something like that. And yeah, I just said, it's time now, like you're in. Yeah. I'd already gone through 60 balls or something like that. And then I just turn it up. I show my intent early off Bolt, because as O'Shane come into bat, Bolt come back. Hit Bolt for 4, top edge. But you always knew you needed a big over. Yeah. You always need to be that big over. Got a 6 off Lockie Ferguson. And then Matt Henry come on to bowl. And he had got some stick from us in a practice game. We got 400 in a practice game. He got some stick. So we were looking around our bowling attack. Lockie Ferguson quick. Yes. Bowl extremely skillful. Yeah. So as good a bowler as Matt Henry is, and he is a good bowler, you start to pick your battles and you think, this
Yeah.
gotta be the man that you gotta take out. Like,
Target. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta target him. And yeah, he overstart. Well, he bowled my length, I slap it over mid on for 6, and then from there everything just flow. So then you come down to a situation now where I needed 2 runs. I was on 98, and they guide the ball for 2. Could have got 2, and I said, nah, the game more important. So he stopped at the other end. That was the last over. So it was facing Nisham. The only thing that I would say is that the first couple balls in the over that Nisham bowled, mid on and mid off, were up. I thought I could have done more with them. I swing and miss at a couple balls. And I know if I had made contact and hit the ball the same place that I hit it when I got out, that it would have been 4 or 6 because mid on and mid off up. So that's probably, if we talk about regret, and that's a strong word, that's probably the only regret that I made more of the first couple of balls. But yeah, I hit that ball for a boundary. And again, my wife was there. She's my lucky charm. She was there in the stands. My dad was there this time. Her granddad was there as well. So it was good. It's always good to share them moments with family, friends, and the ones that you love. So I make sure I blow a little kiss. But then that ball, so that was the last ball of the second last over. We needed 6 runs, I think. 6 runs off 7 balls. And I told O'Shane, look, back up, we try to get a single. But if the ball is in my slot, I can finish the game. Because the last thing you want, I didn't say this, but the last thing you want is that you get a ball you can maximize, you try to get a single, is a dot, and then O'Shane lose the wicket first ball or second ball of the last over. You all of a sudden think back. So I tell him, if the ball isn't there, we're looking for a single. If it is in my slot, I'm going big. And to be fair, the ball that I got up with was similar line and probably a little closer, but similar line and similar length to the ball that I had hit for 6 from the other end of Matt Henry. The only difference is that boundary was like 2 yards further back. So you think, put that same ball, same shot, same way the ball come off the bat on the other end, is 6 and we win the game. But that created a lot of sleepless nights, boy. Up at 3 a.m. wondering, should I get a single? Should I hit the ball for 6? But the team psychologist at the time said, although he wasn't happy that we lost the game, he was happy to see the response that he not got, because it should now settle my mind that you can do good stuff without the reward to show and still be appreciated for it. So yeah, that was one of the knocks that will live long in my memory, boy.
It truly was a remarkable innings. I can tell you that for sure. It truly was a remarkable innings. Now, Carlos, you have a new team. You're with a new team this year in the CPL, in the Jamaica Tallawahs. Just tell me what are your expectations now, playing with these new crop of guys, and how excited are you to just get back out there in the middle and just play some cricket?
First, excited. Jeez, that's an understatement, Jason, boy. I haven't batted or bowled for a bit. Probably were 2 months and a little bit, because I got some practice just after lockdown in England. But for the duration of the test series, I couldn't use the facilities because the players were in one bubble and I was in a different bubble as broadcaster and media. And then I played 1 game for Wildy. When I got home, I was home for 2 days. Then back, both 2 overs, and then come to Trinidad. I was in a room for the last 7 days. So I chomping at the bit to get outside. When it comes to the new team, man, I played a lot. I played with a lot of these guys. When you talk about the Jamaicans, the Blackwoods, been at HPC with him. Rodman Powell played with him for West Indies. Russell, Chadwick played for West Indies as well. And then guys like Sandeep Lamichan, we played together at St. Kitts Patriots a couple of years ago. So the beauty about franchise cricket is you can go into a whole new team and feel so familiar because you would have played around the world in some team with some of the guys in your dressing room. So it's an exciting time. I'm looking forward to it. First time I would have put on the Talos jersey. And I just think we got a real good crop of players. So I think it'll be important the team that comes out of this quarantine period mentally stable, or the most mentally stable, will go the longest way in the competition, because in these sort of competitions you need to hit the ground running. And then with the rain around in Trinidad, you can lose a few games to rain or get a few shortened games. So it all comes down to doing what you need to do when you get the chance to do it. And that chance may be a very small chance. So I think it's just about coming out of it as mentally stable as possible and hitting the ground running. And this team has enough match winners. If we get to the knockouts, they're backing us to go all the way.
Well, Carlos, I want to thank you for joining me. It was definitely an interesting conversation, entertaining conversation. I really enjoyed it. I want to wish you and your new team all the best in the upcoming CPL season.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me, Jess.